This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome to Chapter 3 of Manage Your Manager, where we're diving into what it really means to build credibility without compromising who you are. Today we'll explore what actually makes people trust and respect you at work, and how to earn that reputation the right way. Let's get into it. About half of employees say their most trusted institution isn't the government or the media, it's their own employer. So here's the twist. Your real performance review is happening in quiet moments, when people watch whether your actions actually match your promises. Gallup data shows a clear pattern. When employees believe their leaders are honest and fair, engagement jumps by 2/3 and profitability rises by nearly 1/4. That's not a nice to have, it's a performance multiplier. Yet most credibility damage doesn't come from spectacular scandals, it comes from small fractures, slipping on a deadline without acknowledgement, spinning a status update, quietly changing a decision without explaining why. Colleagues start to add up those moments. Over weeks and months, they form a private reliability score for you that determines whether they share information, back your ideas, or copy your boss when they reply. In this episode, we'll shift from thinking about credibility as a vague reputation to treating it as a set of observable, repeatable behaviors you can deliberately practice under pressure. In most organizations, your integrity signal is broadcast through small, measurable choices. Do you pad estimates by 10% just in case? Do you say no when you're at 110% capacity, or quietly overcommit? Do you pass bad news up the chain within 24 hours, or wait until someone asks? Across studies, 3 patterns show up in people seen as highly credible. First, they give specific, checkable commitments. By Thursday, 3 p.m. Second, they surface risks early, not when a deadline is already missed. Third, they apply the same standard to themselves that they apply to peers or vendors. When researchers break down why some people are seen as rock solid, 3 integrity behaviors show up again and again: truthfulness under pressure, consistency across audiences, and fairness when it costs you something. Truthfulness under pressure. Most integrity damage happens in the gray zone, not in obvious fraud. You're late on a task, a stakeholder asks for a status, and you round 2 days behind into almost there. Studies on pro-social lying show that even small distortions reduce perceived honesty once people find out, often by 20 to 30% in follow-up rating experiments. Practical rule: if a future email, dashboard, or log file could contradict what you're about to say, tighten your language. Swap: we're on track. We hit A and B, C is at risk for the 15th. Everyone agrees. 3 of 5 stakeholders support this, legal still has concerns. You're not just reporting facts, you're training people's expectations about how you talk when things are messy. Consistency across audiences. Integrity isn't only what you say, it's whether people hear the same thing from you in different rooms. Colleagues quietly compare notes. Did you give your boss one story and your peers another? A simple discipline. Write down your key position in 1 to 2 sentences. Use that same core statement with your team, your manager, and cross-functional partners, adjusting detail but not the underlying stance. If your view changes, say so explicitly. Last week I argued X. After seeing the new numbers, I now think Y. Supervisors who are transparent about such shifts cut turnover intentions by roughly 1/3 in field studies because people feel less played. Fairness when it costs you. People watch how you behave when fairness conflicts with convenience or loyalty. Do you defend a teammate who isn't in the room? Do you apply standards evenly when a high performer slips? Credibility rises when you share credit precisely. Maria wrote the core algorithm, I handled integration. Apply rules symmetrically. If you escalate a vendor for missing a date by 3 days, don't quietly excuse your own team for the same gap. Take visible responsibility. I approve this timeline. That's on me, followed by a specific fix. Think of each choice as a visible test case your coworkers will reuse to predict your surface behavior. One generous but costly decision, backing a colleague publicly, admitting your own miss without defensiveness, often does more to raise that prediction than 20 routine updates delivered on time. A mid-level PM I coached inherited a project already 18 days late. In his first week, he found 3 undocumented risks and a quietly furious stakeholder. Instead of smoothing things over, he sent a 6-bullet email to all parties. What was late? Why? His part in it, and 3 concrete changes: daily 10-minute stand-up, weekly risk review, decision log shared with everyone. Within 2 months, missed handoffs dropped from 11 per sprint to 3, and his director started pulling him into higher stakes work. Not because velocity jumped overnight, but because people saw he would not pretty up bad news. At a tech firm, a director faced pressure to rate a politically connected team exceeds despite average outcomes. She documented objective metrics, on-time delivery, defect rate, stakeholder NPS, and applied the same 3-tier rubric to all 7 teams. One VP was annoyed. 46 engineers saw that calibration deck. Over the next 2 cycles, cross-team transfers into her org rose by 40%, and voluntary exits dropped to near zero. In hybrid, data-saturated workplaces, your integrity record is easier to audit. Message logs, commit histories, and meeting recordings make gaps between claims and behavior visible across time zones. A single altered metric in a slide may be checked against 12 months of dashboards in seconds. Treat digital traces as part of your reputation. Document decisions, note trade-offs, and log reversals. Leaders who do this systematically become the 10 to 15% people seek out for high-risk, high-autonomy work. Credibility scales faster when you track it. Over the next month, pick 1 meeting per week to note. 3 promises you make, 3 you receive. After 4 weeks, audit. How many were met on time, acknowledged, or silently dropped? Aim for 90% follow-through and explicit resets within 24 hours. That visible rigor is what earns you stretch projects and bigger budgets. Here's your challenge this week. Choose 1 commitment you've been vague or non-committal about, like, "I'll get that to you soon," or "Let's connect sometime." And, today, turn it into a clear promise with a specific deadline and deliverable. Then follow through exactly as stated. Before you make any new promise, pause and ask yourself out loud, "Can I definitely do this on time, as stated?" And only say yes if the answer is a confident yes. At the end of each day this week, send 1 short message to a colleague or client where you proactively acknowledge a miss or delay, if there is one, and clearly reset the expectation with a new, realistic deadline. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow!